Hello, welcome to Duncan Egg Bricks and to a LEGO Star Wars 2022 set review. This is a review of set number 75322, Hoth ATST. I was quite intrigued when I saw this set announced. It's been a while since we've had an Imperial ATST. The last time was with a set for Rogue One back in 2016. More recently, we had the ATST Raider, which was a similar looking set, but with some visual changes from The Mandalorian Season 1, and it's actually been quite a while since we've had an ATST from the original trilogy. LEGO have gone a slightly different direction here, and they've actually taken inspiration from the Battle of Hoth in The Empire Strikes Back, where the ATST first made its appearance. There are some differences between the original model used in shooting from Empire Strikes Back to Return of the Jedi, and those have been reflected in the model here. So I'm interested in how this is going to be in terms of a build experience and what this is going to be like. We've also got some minifigures here, including some exclusives, as well as a brick-built probe droid, which looks really good. So I'm going to get this built up and then we will take a look at it together. And here's the finished set. There's the main build there, and also the minifigures and the probe droid. Before building this, I really wasn't sure whether I was going to like the new direction that LEGO had taken the ATST. I think probably because I got used to how the older ones looked, or the more recent older ones. But I have to say, once I finish this, I really like it. I think it's probably the best minifigure compatible ATST that we've got. Maybe even better than the UCS one, which came out quite a number of years ago. Maybe it's time for them to do another UCS one. But anyway, let's take a look at the figures first, and then we will take a look at the build in more detail. We get 3 actual minifigs and 1 brick-built character in this set. I've split them up along Rebel and Imperial lines. So here you can see on the left we've got a Hoth Rebel Trooper. This has what I think is a new face print on a slightly darker skin tone, which is really nice. It is double-sided, and I will show you that in a second. The torso is printed with the kind of standard Hoth Trooper jacket on dark tan, which looks really good. Legs are unprinted, which is a little bit of a shame. She comes with the backpack, which, as has been pointed out, is missing from the Rebel Trooper battle pack kind of thing, or I think it's really a minifigure pack. But you know, it's not an uncommon piece, so it'd be fairly easy to replace on those figures. But anyway, this set, the figure looks really good. It's a shame that we do only get 1 figure, but I guess it makes sense given that that pack is coming out. She comes with the same hat helmet type thing with the goggles that we have seen for a number of years now. And if I just pop off the helmet, you can just see part of her other face. It's just a slightly angrier expression, which I think is appropriate for someone going into battle. I really like the fact that we've got a little bit more diversity with the minifig heads, especially in the Star Wars line with our unnamed characters. You know, you can argue the toss all day about whether or not any of the people at the Battle of Hoth in the film are reflected in this minifigure, but I really don't think it matters. And it's nice to get some variety for the mockers out there. Anyway, let's pop that back on. And on the right, of course, is Chewbacca. This is an exclusive variant. It's the standard modern version of Chewbacca that we've had for quite a while now, but he does come with snow printing. So you can see it's printing on his feet, on the front of the torso and face, and also on the legs. And if I spin him around, there is also a little bit on the back as well. It's not super extensive, this printing, but it is a nice touch and it does make him exclusive. It's the same kind of thing we've come to expect. So it's just a blank body underneath, and then this is all one piece that goes on top. He does come with his stud shooting bowcaster, which is one of the older type of stud shooters. They have now introduced a new version. This is a really nice mould, and I think it works just as well with or without the stud in there, just for display purposes. You can leave the trigger out if you want to. That is a separate part. Okay, that does it for the Rebels. Let's move on to the Imperials. Okay, we've got a bit of a size disparity here, and that is the first thing to mention. So this is obviously the Imperial probe droid, or Viper droid, that in the film is what discovers the Hoth base, or Echo base, and leads the Empire there. And then on the left we've got a Hoth ATST pilot, or driver. Now, it's always a bit tricky to work out just how big this is meant to be. In my head, at least, I imagine it being a little bit smaller, but I think this is probably the smallest they could have done using the techniques that are being used here, which I have to say are the best that I've seen on one of these probe droids at all. In fact, this really reminds me of the larger buildable figure that kind of came in the same line as the helmets. So I think it's amazing that they've managed to pack in as much detail as they have. It actually uses lots of brackets and studs on the side techniques in order to get all of these details, but I think the overall effect is really nice. I appreciate the variety between the different attachments, the sort of hands that dangle down, and I like the fact that there are all these different kind of sensors around the top of the head as well. The head is rotatable, or in fact the entire upper section can rotate. If I pop it off, you can kind of see underneath how it's made. Might be a little bit more tricky than I thought. There is actually a bar that goes all the way down through the middle, so we'll just pull that out. You can see how that's made with a brick with studs on all four sides, and then these slightly newer modified slopes. So yeah, it's a nice build. I think it works at this scale, and yeah, it's a good looking figure. I'll just leave him off now because he is a little bit big and overshadows the other really good minifig. This is obviously the Hoth ATST pilot or driver. Comes with a printed torso and printed legs, which look really good. In white, obviously, is a bit of differentiation from the Endor troopers. The helmet is the newer variety, the one that we saw initially with the, I think it was the Mud Trooper version of Han Solo from the Solo movie, with the printed goggles on top. It was then used for General Veers in a sand blue, and it's now in a dark grey for this, this minifig. Spin his head around, he's got two slightly different expressions, an angrier one there and a slightly happier one there. He also does come with accessories, but those are actually inside the ATST, so I will show them to you in a second. And so, back to the main build of the set, which is obviously the Hoth ATST. It's a little bit difficult to get it all in shot. I will just pan down so you can see all the way down to the feet. There are no stickers in this set, which I was a little surprised about. Previous versions of this vehicle have used stickers, and I think there are only a couple of places where their use is really shows through, but actually in a lot of other places they've used brick building techniques in place of those stickers, and I think that is definitely a good way forward. One place that they've done that is down on the feet. You can see these are completely built up. They are identical, as you would expect, using lots of different wedge plates and different slopes and other pieces to provide a lot of detail. They are also big enough to provide stability for this thing to stand up. The ATSTs do have quite large feet, and if anything, I suppose it makes sense for the Hoth ones to have slightly larger feet so that they can walk on snow or ice. And yeah, they look really good. Lots of greebling details all around there, and they are quite sturdy. And that is the thing to mention. The Hoth ATST is a slightly different version. It was created before the more common Endor version that we know, and the shooting model did have differences, as I mentioned at the beginning. But actually, I would say that this ATST does a pretty good job of representing any ATST. I think, as I said, it's probably the best looking one that we've had, and you know, with a few tweaks it would probably be very possible to turn this into you know, a generic ATST for use in any occasion. But anyway, we'll go on to that in a little bit more detail in a second. One of the major differences you'll probably notice is the length of the legs, particularly this section here. It's a little bit longer, a little bit ganglier, and as a result the head is a little smaller. I do feel though that that actually looks quite good. The heads were getting a bit ridiculously large on ATSTs before, and they were still only holding one figure as this one does, so there's no loss in the number of figures you can put in there. Still comes with the rotating function using this knob on the back, just a simple set of bevel gears inside, turns around. It doesn't actually click in place because they're using a plate down there rather than the round brick. But there's a decent enough amount of friction there that, you know, you can rotate it back here and it's not going to start spinning around to the front again. Yeah, looks good overall. Lots of, again, like I said, greebly detailing, all put in with lots of different pieces here. There is a suggestion of a more accurate linkage here. If you don't know, the actual ATSTs, their legs pivot from the back here, they go to the front to this joint, and then back down. I don't think any of the Lego versions have ever really done that, possibly without accepting the UCS version, just for stability reasons. Doesn't really make sense in order for stability and to be a set that can be built by you know, your average Lego enjoyer. Obviously people who've created mocks have done them like that, and that is far more accurate. But yeah, it's nice and stable overall. They've even introduced greebling under here with a couple of these spoiler pieces, paint roller, tap, jumpers put inside out. So yeah, it's lots and lots of detail all the way around, which has meant that there's been no stickers necessary. There are, however, some printed parts in the set. We've got these fans printed on 2x2 round tiles with the hole through the centre, 2 of those, and they kind of approximate the detail that would be there on the real thing. Those have been done with stickers before, which, you know, you can argue that makes it more accurate, but then these are generic enough and they probably keep the cost down a little bit as well. There's even greebling on the top of this kind of platform here. In terms of functions, the legs do move. They have 1 point of articulation, as has become common, which is at the back there. I'm going to try and see if I can get it to stand up at all. Yeah, it's incredibly unstable, so I wouldn't really recommend it. It's kind of on its tiptoes at the moment. To be honest, the articulation that you're going to really want to use is that head revolving articulation, and I think that's absolutely fine because you can get some kind of decent expression out of it, you know, with it looking to the side while its feet are facing forward. Obviously the guns are also articulatable as well. They are just on regular clips, they can go up or down, and the armaments on the side can also do the same. This one can spin up and down like that, as can this one here. So yeah, it's I like the part usage just here, actually. These new sort of 4x4, not sure what you'd call them. They're kind of dishes. They were used, I think the first place I saw them was on a Disney set, I should say another Disney set, as the front of a plane for Mickey Mouse. In red, so they have been used before, and they aren't the same pieces as we used in the Hogwarts Icon set in trans clear. They're very similar, but they aren't the same as I initially thought. It's shaped up very nicely around the sides, obviously using plates on the side to make the shaped armour, and then the interior I will show you as well. So there's 2 ways to get into the interior if I tilt the entire thing forward. First of all, we've got the canonical hatch. That's another part there that has had a sticker in the past, but I don't think it really suffers for not having it. So yeah, you've got the hatch there, which you can just pop the driver into like that, so he can be peeking out, and you can actually either clip him onto one of these bars or just have his hands out like that so he can be peeking out at the top hatch, although I don't know if he'd be doing that on Hoth given the temperature. But the main way that you can actually get into the top is by flipping the entire top open. Again, this has become very common, and you can see inside, and there is space, as I said before, for 1 figure. It's got a printed console piece just there. It's just a printed cheese slope, which we've seen in loads and loads of sets, but it's nice to get that, and I don't think it suffers for not having printed detail. Inside, as I said, are also his accessories. You've got a small blaster here, just a standard one, and then you've got a white pair of macro binoculars over here. They've actually got colour-coded clips on either side for you to put them in. So, you know, it's a nice little touch. It's a shame that there isn't more space in the interior, but as I said, they've managed to downsize the head and still keep space for a figure, so I can't complain too much. The last feature to talk about is the spring-loaded shooters. I'll just grab a couple of bolts. These are in the same place we've expected to see them on the last few ATSTs, so one either side of the main guns just there. And these have got the bare amount, you know, a very small amount of trigger so that you can just push this thing on the back. Just put my hand in the way, and that fires off. As you'd expect. We've seen these for years now, and they work really well. I will say, though, that actually the bolts are hidden quite nicely because things are quite dark under here. You know, in the right lighting, you probably wouldn't even be able to tell that there's a bolt there. Obviously, you can see them out the front. You can leave them out if you wish. I think I will be leaving them out, as I don't tend to want to actually use them. And you can just pretend these are kind of nice little greebly details, or you can swap them out for other pieces if you wish. So there we go. I don't think I've got too much else to say about this. It's a really nice set. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I do. It comes with a great selection of figs. The probe droid is a real highlight. It packs a huge amount of pieces into such a small volume. I should also point out it comes with this white wedge plate for it to stand on, just to represent a little bit of snow underneath. Snowy Chewbacca is nice to get, and it's good to get a Hoth Trooper as well. Obviously, LEGO is going in quite hard on all the Hoth scenes at the moment with the UCS 8080 and, of course, last year's was it the year before? The 8080 that I have anyway, the more playscale version, and, of course, the Snowtrooper Battle Pack and the Hoth Rebel Troopers Pack. So I might be picking a few more of those up and working on a bit of a Hoth scene, so we will just have to wait and see. If you've enjoyed the review, then please let me know down below. Let me know your thoughts on this ATST and whether you think it's better or worse than the ones we've had before, and whether you like the direction that LEGO's taken with it. If you've enjoyed the video, then please subscribe for more reviews, mock videos, and loads of other content. And if you want to go ahead and purchase this set, I will put a LEGO affiliate link down in the description, so you can click on that and I may earn a small amount of commission from it. So, thank you very much, and until next time, have a good one. Bye.